You know, I tell people all the time that if you want to change your life, you don't start by looking for miracles or luck or some grand event that comes once in a lifetime. No. You start by changing the little things you do every single day. Because your future is not hidden in the big decisions, it's hidden in the small ones. The everyday ones. The ones so tiny most people overlook them. When I was a young man, I used to think success arrived on a certain day with a certain opportunity handed to me by someone more powerful or more experienced. But as my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, told me one evening, that changed my life. Jim, it isn't the big things that make you or break you. It's the few simple disciplines practiced daily or the few little errors in judgment repeated daily that determine everything. And he was right. He was absolutely right. So tonight, I want to start by giving you something extremely practical and extremely powerful. 21 tiny habits. 21 daily disciplines that quietly rebuilt my life. Habits so small you could begin them before the day ends, and yet so meaningful they can alter the entire direction of your year. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to adopt all 21 tomorrow morning. You don't even need 5. You start with 1. Just 1. Because here's what I discovered. A small discipline practiced today becomes a quiet advantage tomorrow and a massive transformation in a year. And it doesn't happen loudly. It doesn't happen dramatically. It happens gently, silently, almost secretly, until one day you wake up and realize your thinking has changed, your confidence has changed, your habits have changed, and then your life must follow. That's where we begin. With the small hinges that swing the biggest doors, with the tiny habits that begin to build a new philosophy, a new attitude, a new direction. Because if you'll change what you do daily, I promise you, your life cannot stay the same. It simply cannot. Now let's begin with the first category, the habits of mindset. Before you change your bank account, before you change your health, before you change your skills, you must change your philosophy. I used to think circumstances shaped your life. I thought the job, the economy, the government, my neighbors, all of that had the greatest influence on how my life turned out. But that's simply not true. The greatest influence on your future is not the wind blowing outside, it's the set of your sail. And your sail is nothing more than your mindset. The way you think about your day, the way you interpret events, the way you speak to yourself in the quiet moments, that's what determines where you end up. So let me give you the first set of habits, the ones that reshape the mind long before they reshape the world around you. Here's the first one. Read 10 minutes a day. Just 10. Not an hour, not a whole book, 10 minutes. When I was starting out, my mentor said, Jim, the difference between where you are and where you want to be is hidden in what you don't yet know. And reading is how you find it. 10 minutes a day exposes you to ideas, philosophies, strategies, and stories that lift your thinking. And here's the truth. You can't think better if you don't feed better. So make reading a daily dose of intelligence. 10 minutes, that's enough to tilt the mind upward. Habit number 2. Ask yourself every day, what did I learn today? Most people live their days without harvesting them. They go to work, come home, eat, scroll, sleep, and not a single lesson is captured. And that's a tragedy. Because the day is full of clues, full of insights, full of corrections and confirmations. If you miss the lesson, you lose the value. But if you ask that simple question each day, you begin to turn your life into a classroom. And suddenly, everything counts. Every conversation, every success, every mistake, it all becomes material for growth. Habit number 3, rewrite one goal each morning. Not all of them, just one. The one that matters most. When you rewrite a goal, you give it new life. You bring it into the present. You remind your mind what direction you are sailing toward. Goals are like magnets. They pull you toward the future, but only if you keep them active in your awareness. If you ignore them, they lose their pull. So every morning, take one goal and write it out fresh. That's all. One sentence that keeps your life in alignment. Habit number 4, 2 minutes of stillness. In a world full of noise, distraction, and endless stimulation, stillness becomes a superpower. Sit quietly. No phone. No talking. No planning. Just 2 minutes of breathing and awareness. Leaders don't think better because they have bigger brains. They think better because they make more space to think. Stillness clears the fog. It allows your best thoughts to rise to the surface. And it teaches you one of the great truths. If you don't control your mind will control you. These 4 habits, reading 10 minutes, harvesting the day's lessons, rewriting a goal, and practicing 2 minutes of stillness will slowly begin to shift the set of your sail. They will shape your philosophy. They will lift your attitude. They will sharpen your awareness. And before you know it, you'll begin to think more clearly, speak more confidently, and move more intentionally. Because once the mind changes, everything else begins to follow. Now let's move to the second category, the habits of discipline. And let me tell you, this is where the real transformation begins. Because mindset is the spark, but discipline is the fuel. Mindset decides the direction, but discipline moves the feet. I used to think discipline was painful, restrictive, uncomfortable, and sometimes it is. But let me tell you the alternative, regret. And regret weighs far more than discipline ever will. Discipline asks for a little discomfort today, so you can enjoy a lot of satisfaction tomorrow. Regret lets you enjoy a little comfort today and forces you to carry a heavy burden tomorrow. So the choice is simple, but it isn't easy. Here is the first discipline habit. Always be 5 minutes early. Now that sounds small. It almost sounds insignificant. But that's exactly the point. Discipline grows in tiny increments. Being 5 minutes early is not about time. It's about respect. Respect for the moment. Respect for the person. Respect for yourself. The person who arrives early signals I'm ready. And success loves the person who shows up ready. That little habit builds reliability. And reliability builds reputation. Habit number 2, make your bed every morning perfectly. Someone once told me, Jim, why does it matter? I'm just going to sleep in it again. But the point isn't the bed. The point is the standard. You begin your day with order instead of chaos, intention instead of laziness, structure instead of drift. If the first act of your day is sloppy, the rest of the day tends to follow. But if the first act of your day is sharp, clean, and disciplined well, that becomes the atmosphere you carry with you. Habit number 3, do one thing immediately the moment you don't feel like it. Just one. Not 10. Not your whole to-do list. One. The moment you hesitate, the moment you feel that small resistance, pick one task and do it immediately. That's how you train the muscle of self-command. That's how you teach your mind who's in charge. Because here is one of the great battles of life. Either you run the day or the day runs you. And the day usually wins if you don't practice taking command in small moments. Habit number 4, no phone for the first 30 minutes. Oh, this is a big one today. If you start your day by opening your phone, you hand the steering wheel of your mind to the world. Think about it. You wake up calm, and then in the first 30 seconds, someone else's message, someone else's crisis, someone else's highlight reel, someone else's agenda is already inside your head, and suddenly you're reacting instead of creating. But if you give yourself the first 30 minutes, just 30, to think, to breathe, to plan, to begin the day on your terms, you'll be amazed at how much more control you feel. These 4 discipline habits may appear small, but together they form the foundation of character. You arrive early. You create order. You command yourself. You protect your mind. And these tiny disciplines practiced quietly, consistently, build a reputation that speaks long before you do. And remember, discipline is not something you do once. Discipline is something you practice until it becomes part of who you are. And once it becomes part of who you are, success becomes a natural consequence. Now let's move to the next category, the habits of health. And let me tell you something I learned far later than I should have. Success is built on a healthy body just as much as it is built on a healthy mind. Because if your body breaks down, everything else breaks down with it. You can have big goals, strong ambition, wonderful plans, but if you don't have the energy to act on them, those plans remain dreams. A tired mind lives inside a tired body. A disciplined mind lives inside a well-kept one. And so the first step to greater performance is very simple. Take care of the instrument. Here's habit number 1. Drink a glass of water the moment you wake up. Now that sounds almost too simple. But simple is what we're aiming for. Before the coffee, before the notifications, before the rush, give your body the one thing it has been craving all night: water. Hydration sets the tone for the day. It reminds your system that you intend to take care of it. It's a signal from the mind to the body. We're starting the day clean. Habit number 2, move your body for 10 to 15 minutes a day. Not strenuous, not exhausting, not overwhelming. Just movement. A few stretches, a walk, some light exercise. The point is consistency, because motion creates emotion, and a body that moves improves. I'm amazed how many people want to change their life but refuse to move their body. You don't need a gym membership to improve your health. You just need 10 minutes of devotion every day. Habit number 3, make one no sugar decision per day. Notice I didn't say remove sugar from your life altogether. That's too extreme for most people. I said one decision, one moment in which you say, not this time. Health isn't built by perfection, it's built by pattern. And one good decision each day eventually becomes 2, and 2 become 3, and suddenly you begin to feel lighter, clearer, more energetic. Not because you changed everything, but because you changed something consistently. Habit number 4, a 5-minute walk outside, no matter what. Sunlight, fresh air, the simple act of stepping outside, it resets you, it opens your lungs, clears your mind, and reconnects you to the world. Even on your busiest day, you can give yourself 5 minutes. And sometimes those 5 minutes do more for your spirit than an hour of sitting still. Nature has a quiet way of telling you you're alive, keep going. You see, these 4 habits aren't about sculpting the perfect body. They're about creating the conditions for a sharp mind, a stable mood, and a steady supply of energy. Because without energy, discipline becomes difficult. Without energy, creativity becomes foggy. Without energy, your mindset suffers. But with energy, your goals become more reachable, your challenges become more manageable, and your days become more productive. Small health habits support big dreams. And when your body feels taken care of, your mind performs with far more clarity, enthusiasm, and confidence. Now let's move to the next category, the habits of value. And this is a very important concept to understand. You don't get paid for the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to that hour. Some people work all day and earn very little, while others work the same hours and earn a fortune. The difference? Not time value. And value comes from one thing, becoming more valuable. The marketplace rewards improvement, skill, creativity, and contribution. So if you want more, you must become more. And that begins with a few small daily practices. Habit number 1, write down one idea to add value every day. One idea. That's all. It could be a better way to organize something, a better way to communicate, a better way to solve a recurring problem, a better way to help someone. It doesn't have to be brilliant. It just has to train your mind to look for opportunities. Because a person who generates one idea a day becomes a person who sees possibility everywhere, and the person who sees possibility becomes valuable. Habit number 2, send one appreciation message every day. Now that might surprise you, because it doesn't sound like a business skill. But I'm telling you, appreciation is one of the greatest tools of influence. When you take a moment to say, thank you, or I appreciate your effort, or you made a difference today, you position yourself as someone people want to work with, help, support, and remember. Gratitude builds relationships. Relationships build opportunities, and opportunities build income. A simple message can open more doors than a complex plan. Habit number 3, learn one skill in microblocks. Here's the biggest mistake people make. They try to learn a skill in one giant leap. They sit down for 3 hours, get overwhelmed, and quit. But skills don't grow that way. Skills grow in small, steady blocks. 10 minutes a day, every day. Learn a new word, a new technique, a new shortcut on your computer, a new concept in communication, leadership, sales, or strategy. If you improve your skills 1% a day, you become unrecognizable in a year, and the marketplace pays for rare competence. Habit number 4, Document one insight or lesson each day. Don't let the day pass without capturing something from it. A lesson learned, a mistake corrected, an observation made, a principle discovered. If you record it, you absorb it. If you absorb it, you apply it. And if you apply it, your value rises. Most people forget their lessons because they never write them down. But you're not most people. You're building a library of wisdom your own. And that library becomes the foundation of better decisions, better judgment, and better results. You see, becoming valuable is not about giant accomplishments. It's about becoming the kind of person who brings more insight, more thought, more care, more initiative, and more excellence to every situation. The marketplace responds to value, always has, always will, and these habits, practiced daily, begin to grow your value quietly. They sharpen your mind, strengthen your relationships, expand your skills, and deepen your understanding. And one day, opportunities start coming to you, not because you're lucky, but because you've become the kind of person opportunities are attracted to. Now let's move to the next category, the habits of environment. And let me tell you something I learned early. Your environment is doing more to shape you than you realize. In fact, your environment is working on you all the time, quietly, constantly, relentlessly, whether you're paying attention or not. And that's why you must take control of it. Because if you don't shape your environment will shape you, and it often shapes you into something smaller, not something greater. You've heard me say it before. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. But today, it's not just people, it's inputs. The videos you watch, the accounts you follow, the conversations you engage in, the room you live in, the digital space you scroll through. All of these influence how you think, feel, and act. So let's build an environment that nourishes your ambition, not one that suffocates it. Here's the first habit. Clean one small area every day. Just one. A drawer, a shelf, a corner, a desktop. Don't attempt the entire house. Just make one piece of your world more orderly. Order in your environment creates order in your mind. And an orderly mind can think clearly, decide firmly, and act confidently. Every time you improve a small physical space, you send yourself a subtle message. I'm creating room for a better life. Habit number 2. Unfollow one negative influence every week. This is a powerful habit. Because many people are being poisoned quietly through their feed, through their conversations, through the voices they allow in their mind. Negativity, cynicism, pettiness, constant complaining, these are not harmless. They drain ambition. They weaken courage. They darken your perspective. So each week, remove one source of that poison. Could be a page, a person, a group, a channel. Your mind deserves cleaner input. Habit number 3, slow down one moment of the day. We live in a world that rewards speed, but leadership requires clarity, and clarity requires moments of slowness. So choose one moment, maybe breakfast, maybe a walk, maybe the last 5 minutes before bed, and slow it down intentionally. Think, reflect, breathe, taste, observe. You'd be surprised how much insight arrives when you stop rushing through your own life. Habit number 4, create a growth corner in your environment. It doesn't need to be fancy, just a small place where your books live, your journal sits, or your goals are visible. A place that reminds you of who you are becoming. Environments hold emotional memory. When you sit in your growth corner, your mind knows this is where we rise. You create a physical anchor for self-improvement. Now, these 4 habits might seem small, but they create a powerful shift. They transform chaos into clarity, distraction into intention, and noise into focus. And remember this, your environment is the garden where your future grows. If the soil is messy, if the space is cluttered, if the influences are toxic, the garden struggles. But if the environment is clean, supportive, and inspiring, the garden flourishes. Take charge of your environment. Make it a place where excellence feels natural, not forced. Make it a place where your dreams feel welcome. Make it a place that encourages the next version of you. Now let's turn to the next category, the habits of purpose. Because let me tell you, purpose is an extraordinary force. When a person knows why they're getting up in the morning, they walk differently, think differently, act differently. Purpose gives energy to the tired, clarity to the confused, and strength to the overwhelmed. It is the invisible engine behind achievement. And here's the truth. You don't find purpose once and for all. You cultivate it, you refine it, you revisit it every day. Purpose is not a one-time discovery, it's a daily alignment. So let's talk about the habits that keep you anchored to something meaningful. Habit number 1, a daily, what do I stand for? Check in. Just 1 minute. One principle. One reminder of the kind of person you're trying to become. Maybe you write down a word: integrity, discipline, kindness, leadership, excellence. When you remind yourself of what you stand for before the world gives you something else to stand for, temptation, distraction, convenience, you anchor yourself. You walk into the day with identity instead of confusion. Habit number 2, review one meaningful goal through the lens of purpose. Not what do I want, but why does it matter? When you reconnect your goals to purpose, your motivation becomes more durable. A goal without purpose fades quickly, but a goal tied to meaning becomes a mission. And missions endure storms. Missions endure setbacks. Missions endure criticism. When your goal is connected to who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve, you stop quitting early. Habit number 3, perform one act each day that aligns with your future self. Just one act, something the future version of you would be proud of. Maybe it's reading instead of scrolling. Maybe it's sending an apology instead of avoiding it. Maybe it's practicing your craft instead of procrastinating. Purpose grows when you live in harmony with your future, when your actions today honor the person you want to be tomorrow. Habit number 4, the evening reflection: did I become better today? Not was I perfect, not did I win every battle, just did I grow, did I learn, did I stretch? That simple question creates awareness, and awareness is where transformation begins. Most people judge their day only by productivity, how much they got done, but leaders measure their day by improvement, how much they became. That shift is profound. It pulls you away from performance anxiety and moves you toward personal growth. And now comes the beautiful truth. When purpose grows, performance grows. When you feel connected to something meaningful, your discipline strengthens, your energy rises, your resilience deepens, your decisions sharpen. Without purpose, effort feels like a burden. With purpose, effort feels like investment. Purpose transforms work into mission and routines into rituals. And the person who lives with purpose becomes an example of clarity, conviction, and direction. So let these habits remind you daily of who you are, why you're here, and what you're building. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You need to stay aligned every day. Because when purpose guides you, performance becomes almost automatic. Now let's put it all together. Because knowledge without integration leads to frustration. You see, anyone can make a long list of habits, goals, or aspirations, but the real magic happens when those habits begin to blend into a rhythm, a pattern, a lifestyle. A life of discipline is not built in a day, it's built by repetition. Quiet repetition, faithful repetition, predictable repetition, and eventually, what once felt difficult becomes natural, automatic, almost effortless. Discipline transforms into identity. And that's where the true power lies. So how do we integrate these 21 tiny habits without overwhelming ourselves? It begins with something simple. Don't try to master everything at once. Most people attempt too much too fast. And when they fail on day 3, they throw away the entire system. That's not how growth works. Growth lives in accumulation, in stacking, in layering, not in explosion. Start with 3 habits. Just 3. The easiest ones. The ones that feel almost too simple to matter. Because simple habits create early victories, and early victories create confidence. And confidence creates momentum. You see, success feeds on itself. Each time you keep a small promise, you strengthen the muscle that keeps bigger promises. Practice your 3 habits for 7 days. Consistency is more important than intensity. 7 days of small wins are worth far more than 1 day of big declarations. At the end of the week, choose 1 more habit and add it to your routine. That's it. One more. And the next week, add just one more. By the time you reach the 7th or 8th week, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to carry yourself differently. You start to think differently. You start to speak differently because you're becoming someone different. Next, track your disciplines. Not as a punishment, no guilt, no shame, but as a celebration. Track your progress because what gets measured gets improved. Every check mark is a small victory. Every streak is proof that you're becoming consistent. You'd be amazed how motivating it is to see your own growth staring back at you. Another important step, review your system every week. Ask yourself, what's working? What feels natural? What needs adjustment? Leadership is not rigidity, it's awareness. Sometimes you'll discover a habit that no longer serves your goals. Adjust it. Replace it. Strengthen it. You're not chained to your routines, you're designing them. And finally, celebrate small wins. I can't emphasize this enough. Don't wait until the big goal is achieved to feel proud. Feel proud when you keep a promise. Feel proud when you follow through. Feel proud when you choose discipline over ease. Every small victory is a brick in the foundation of your new identity. And the identity you build determines the destiny you reach. Because here's the truth. These habits, practiced daily, become a lifestyle. And the lifestyle eventually becomes the life. The process is slow at first. You barely notice the change. You're doing tiny things, cleaning a corner, writing a goal, taking a 5-minute walk. But remember, small disciplines compound quietly, invisibly, then suddenly. And one day you look back and realize the old you would never have done what you're doing now. The old you would never have handled life the way you handle it now. The old you didn't have these disciplines, but the new you does. And when your disciplines change, your results must follow. That's the law. That's the promise. That's the beauty of integration. And now, my friends, we reach the final piece, the conclusion, the closing thought I want to leave with you. Because if there's one idea that can carry this entire message into the rest of your life, it's this. Your future is not waiting for you somewhere out there. Your future is hidden in your daily rituals. It's not in the distant dream or the big plan or the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's in the tiny, ordinary, quiet decisions you make every day. The 21 habits we've talked about may seem small, but small hinges swing big doors. And if you practice them consistently, your life cannot help but change. It's impossible to be the same person with new disciplines. When I look back at my younger years, I realize it wasn't one big decision that turned my life around. It was a series of small ones. Getting a little better every day. Reading for 10 minutes. Arriving 5 minutes early. Asking myself what I learned. Thinking before I acted. Cleaning a corner of my life, internally or externally. And every time I practiced one of those tiny disciplines, I didn't just change my schedule, I changed my identity. I became the kind of person who does what they say, the kind of person who grows, the kind of person who takes responsibility. And when you become that kind of person, your results must catch up. You see, success is not something you chase. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And becoming that person is not dramatic. It's not loud. It's not headline news. It happens quietly, subtly, almost secretly. One day at a time, one habit at a time, one decision at a time. And then one evening, you look at your life and think, my goodness, I'm not who I used to be. And that's the moment you realize that transformation isn't an event, it's a lifestyle. So take these 21 habits and begin with just one. Start tonight. Start right now. Let that one habit build your confidence. Then add another and another. And slowly, steadily, your habits will build your character will shape your destiny, and your destiny will reveal the future you were meant to live. Remember this simple truth. You don't need a new year, a new job, a new city, or a new chance to start changing your life. You only need a new decision. A new decision about how you will live today. Because the day you take responsibility for your habits is the day you take responsibility for your future. And when your habits rise, your life must rise with them. My friends, your life is waiting, not someday today, not later now. Start with the smallest discipline you can keep. Let it compound. Let it build. And watch how your world transforms. That's how you rebuild a life. Quietly, gradually, and wonderfully.